Good morning, fellow journeyers. Wake up. Your soul needs you. Today, I want to talk about goals. And I'm going to make this talk today twofold. I want to talk about my journey of sobriety. And I also want to talk about goals and how we can break those down into bite-sized pieces to make them happen. So, I have a few goals right now in my life, some things that I want to obtain. And it occurred to me about a week or so ago that I no longer like the term goals. For me, goals feel like something that is big, something that's in the future, something that's not attainable. For me, goals feel like an ideal or a dream, something we would like to happen, but often we don't know what steps to take in our daily lives, or how to make those dreams a reality, how to make those goals something that we're actually living. And so, like I said, I had an aha moment about a week ago, and I was thinking about what my current goals are, and I was also thinking about my journey of sobriety and how I've gotten to the point in time that I am at today. And I don't want to come across as being self-righteous. I don't want to put any misnomers out there. When I began my journey of sobriety almost 3 years ago, I did not wake up one morning and just think, oh, it's time. I'm going to quit drinking. It's time to become healthy. It's time to become sober. For me, it took receiving a second OWI. With the prospect of a felony and some real jail time, for me to change my life, for me to make positive changes on a day-to-day basis and change the way that I was living. And at that time, I absolutely knew I was an alcoholic. I knew that my drinking was not normal, that it was not healthy, but I absolutely had no idea how I was going to quit drinking. And a few years ago, when I faced the prospect of all of these dire consequences that I was not willing to face, that I did not want to face, I had to get sober. I absolutely had to change. And although I was put on probation, so I had a level of accountability with the criminal justice system, I still had to do things every single day in order to change my lifestyle, in order to not drink, in order to change my thinking around my habit of drinking. And in AA and in a lot of programs of recovery, they really emphasize and they really preach one day at a time. And I know that it almost sounds kind of cliche. Everyone throws around one day at a time. But in actuality, one day at a time is how we accomplish anything. It is the only thing that we have any control over, and that is one day at a time. So a few years ago, when I was facing probation and facing all of these consequences from receiving a second OWI, I was absolutely overwhelmed and terrified on a few different levels. But I knew that I had to get sober. And the prospect of not drinking every single day for the rest of my life was too overwhelming. I absolutely could not even fathom that. And I had no idea how I was going to accomplish that. So what I did was I took it one day at a time. I thought about one day at a time. What am I going to do today to not take that drink, to not drink? And there were many days where I was white knuckling it through the day. There were many days where I took lots of walks, where I took hot baths, where I cried and I prayed to God to get me through the day without drinking. I even had days where I gave my son my car keys and asked him to hide them so that I could not let myself go to the liquor store. There were lots of days that I was white knuckling it, days where I would go to bed at 7 or 8 o'clock at night just to have that day over with so that I could say I didn't drink today. And I did that every single day. And I have done that continuously every single day. I have a small app on my phone that's called Pink Cloud, and it's a recovery app. It tallies or it keeps track of every day that you have been sober. Or every day that you've done anything. It really doesn't matter. But I looked at that app when I first started becoming sober. I looked at it all the time. And I would think, okay, it's been 3 days. Yes, 3 days I haven't had a drink. Or it's been 30 days. That's a whole month. Or it's been 100 days. That's monumental. And so I often referred to this app as I was practicing day-to-day staying sober as a form of encouragement to look back and to say, I've accomplished something. And so today I glanced at the app again, and I realized it's been 875 days since I've had a drink. And how have I done that? I have done that by not drinking every single day for 875 days in a row. And like I stated earlier, that was not easy, and it has not been easy. But as I look back and I see that it's been, 2.5 years, almost 3 years, that it's been 875 days, I view my addiction to alcohol differently than I did, 800 days ago. At one point in time, I would say, my name is Rachel and I'm an alcoholic. Now I look at that situation differently because I've got a substantial amount of time under my belt that I haven't been drinking. And so now I look at myself as a recovering alcoholic as opposed to an alcoholic. So I have made small day-to-day changes in my life that have changed the way I view myself as a person. And so about a week ago, I had this aha moment. I have these dreams and these goals, these things I want to accomplish, as we all do. And a lot of these goals I have, to be honest, I have had for years. And if I'm really being honest, 3 to 5 years. I've had these goals for a long time. And I woke up about a week ago and I realized I'm not any closer to achieving any of these goals than I was, say, 5 years ago. And these are some of my goals. I would like to lose about 30 pounds. I would like to get in better shape physically, feel better about myself physically. I would like to be a non-smoker. I would like to quit smoking entirely. And I would like to be in a relationship. I would like to attract my soulmate. I'd like to make a connection with somebody on that level. And this is the way I've approached these goals the last 3 to 5 years. And I do a lot of inner work. I do a lot of journaling, a lot of affirmations. I read a lot of self-help books. I listen to a lot of lectures. One of the things that's preached a lot on this circuit of self-help and life coach gurus is this law of attraction. This ability that we have to manifest what we want in our lives. And so for umpteen years now, I have held these visions of these goals that I have, and I have journaled about them. I have done affirmations about them. I have created vision boards where I have cut out pictures from magazines about pictures of my dream home, my dream car, my dream body, my dream soulmate. And I've looked at these things and I've visualized and I've, tried to hold myself with the feeling of that I have these things. That's another thing that's preached a lot about holding yourself to a higher vibration, feeling like you already have these things in your lives, and then you will have them in your life. And the frustration that I have felt these last few years doing that is that I feel like I'm doing all of these things that I'm supposed to be doing, and yet I still don't have the things in my physical reality that I want to have in my life. And so as I was thinking about this last week, as I was journaling, I thought, why don't I approach these big goals in my life the same way that I approached getting sober? And that is one day at a time. And I really figured out that I don't like the word goals because, like I stated earlier, it feels like something that's unobtainable, something in the future, something that we want to happen, or a dream that we have. But we don't really know how to take the steps to make that thing happen. And that is the cycle that I have been stuck in the last few years with these other goals that I have, is that I think, someday I really want to be a non-smoker, or someday I really want to be in good shape physically, or someday I really want to be in a loving relationship. And I can think about those, I can dream about them, I can daydream, I can visualize it, but here I am still without any of those things in my life. And it's very easy to become disheartened. You kind of, I've kind of lost my belief in the law of attraction or in manifesting. It's easy to get discouraged and think, well, this is just the way life is. These are lofty ideas and dreams. But the reality is that life doesn't work that way. And so rather than letting myself get discouraged, I thought about the goals that I have, and I thought, why don't I approach these goals in a different way? Why don't I approach these goals the same way that I approached getting sober? And that is one day at a time. Because every day that I did not take a drink, regardless of how difficult it was or what I had to do to not take that drink, time moves forward. And one day piles up to the next day, piles up to 100 days, accumulates to 875 days. And then all of a sudden, your life is different. My life is a hell of a lot different, 875 days of not drinking every single day than it was 875 days ago. The way I think about myself, my day-to-day life, my relationships, my viewpoints, my thought processes, all of that is different than how it was. And how did I make that different? How did I actually change my reality? It wasn't because I dreamed about being sober or because I visualized myself being sober. It was because I actually didn't drink every single day. And so with these goals that I have, this past week, I have been trying this out. I have been trying this out every day, and this is why I wanted to share this with you. I'm always open and honest with you guys. I'm always talking to you about real struggles I'm going through, real life challenges, or things that I'm actually doing in my life. And so I actually have started practicing this for the last week. And I broke these goals down. My first goal of wanting to be a non-smoker, not wanting to smoke. What I did was I made a commitment to myself every single day. At work, I have 2 15-minute breaks and 1 30-minute lunch break. So I made a decision this week, because I always go out and I smoke with my friends on my lunch breaks at work, right? So I made a commitment to myself this week where I told myself, on my first 15-minute break, I am not going to go out and smoke. I might smoke on my lunch break. I might smoke my last 15-minute break of the day. But I can make it through 15 minutes every single day of changing a habit of going out and smoking, and I'm not going to go out and smoke. And this is what I had to do to change that habit. Normally I would go walk outside, stand outside with my friends and smoke, or go sit in my truck and sit and smoke. And instead, I brought a book that I was reading to work. I bought a pack of gum, and I have been staying in the break room for those 15 minutes, chewing on a piece of gum and reading a book. And so for the last 5 days, every day this week, I have not gone out and smoked on my first 15-minute break at work. Maybe for some of you that have a huge amount of willpower or are able to stop things cold turkey, maybe this seems like a little tiny insignificant baby step. But for me, it's something little that I can do every single day. It's a new daily practice that I can incorporate into my daily life. And I know, because of my experience with becoming sober, that one day leads to the next day, and leads to the next day, and leads to the next day. So my end result goal will be, or is, that in a week or two, I can not go out and smoke on my first 15-minute break, and I can not go out and smoke on my second 15-minute break. So then I'm only going out and smoking on my lunch break. So that cuts out 2 times during my workday that I would be smoking that I'm not going to be smoking. And I know that every day that I do something little to work towards that goal, eventually one day I'm not going to go out at all during my day at work and go smoke. And that will lead into me not smoking on the weekends or not smoking in the evening when I come home from work. So that is a way that I have broken down this huge lofty goal of being a non-smoker into a little something that I can do every day for only 15 minutes that puts me closer to being a non-smoker, that puts me closer to having that ultimate goal. Another thing that I did, another goal that I broke down into a new daily practice, is wanting to get in better shape physically and wanting to lose weight. And that has been something that's been on my mind for a number of years, something I've wanted to work towards, and I think about it, but it seems too huge. 30 pounds seems like a lot of weight to try to lose, and I really don't know how to do it, and my motivation hasn't been there to do it. So what I have done is broken down that big goal of losing weight and getting in good shape physically into every day I am going to do one 15-minute walking video. For 15 minutes every day, I can make myself do a walking video. And I approach that like I approach my job at work. I think, the first day that I came home and I was tired, I had worked, 8 hours, my feet hurt, I really didn't feel like doing a walking video. I really just wanted to sit down and relax after a long day at work. And I thought, how many 15 minutes all day long throughout 8 hours while I was at work did I do something that I didn't necessarily want to do, but I did it? What's 15 more minutes of standing in front of the television and doing a walking video? And so I made myself do it. And so every day this week, when I come home from work, rather than immediately sitting on the couch and drinking a cup of coffee and smoking and relaxing, I am doing a 15-minute walking video first. Then I might let myself sit on the couch and relax and watch some TV and smoke. But I'm making myself do that 15-minute video first. The other thing that I'm doing in regards to wanting a relationship, and this is a little bit different, rather than having a picture of my ideal partner, the perfect man that I want to attract in my life, I'm looking at myself and doing some inner work around that. And I had an interesting conversation with my son about a week ago, my oldest son, and he actually sent me an excerpt from a book that he was reading. And it talked about how we view relationships, like maybe some old subconscious or in-seated ideas that we have that surround relationships that might keep us from obtaining the relationship that we're looking for. And so I stopped and actually thought about this, and I thought, I really do have some beliefs surrounding relationships that I haven't really thought about for a while, but are definitely there. And a couple of the things that I have had ingrained in me that I really have thought to be the truth for me surrounding relationships is that the people that I'm attracted to are not attracted to me. The people that I'm attracted to that I want in a relationship are just a little out of my league. They're a little bit too good for me. And those kind of people aren't interested in somebody like me. I'm not really good enough for the people that I want to attract in my life. And I've had that kind of subconscious, deep-seated belief for as long as I can remember. And so because of that, in relationships in the past, I have settled for people that I thought were more in my league, or people that liked me or were interested in me. And so I've looked at that and I've thought, that's something that I need to change within myself. I need to get to a place where I know that I can find a relationship with somebody that I am attracted to just as much as is attracted to me. I need to get to a place where I feel worthy of attracting the kind of relationship that I want in my life. And so I'm doing some inner work just for a little bit of time every single day to change my mindset around relationships so that I'm open to attracting the right relationship. And those two small things that I am doing every day, normally when I go to sleep at night, I watch a documentary or I listen to a documentary. And instead of doing that, I am listening to a meditation. I am listening to something positive, something that puts me in a good mindset, something that opens up my feelings of worthiness, my feelings of self-love, my feelings of being able to obtain what I want in my life. And then the other thing I'm doing is in the mornings on my way to work, and I have about a 30 or 40-minute drive that I have to make every day, right? I am listening to something positive in the mornings as well. And that either has been affirmations for me, or it has been binaural beats, higher vibration music. And they say that 852 megahertz music, that vibration, that frequency is the vibration of love. And so I've been listening to classical music or to new age music with binaural beats in it that puts me in a higher frequency or a higher vibration to attract that love in my life. So I just want to share these two things with you today. This kind of aha moment that I had a week ago, this accomplishment of becoming sober. And how I've done it one day at a time for 875 days, and how I have realized that making changes in my life every single day accumulates to another day, to another day, to another day, and that now, 875 days later, I view myself in a different way than I used to. Instead of feeling like I am an alcoholic, I now view myself as a recovering alcoholic. I view myself in a healthier way, and I am healthier. And so, like I said, I am relating that experience into these goals that I currently have, and I am breaking these goals down into little bite-sized pieces of real action that I can take every day that will make these goals a reality. And I realize that, 15 minutes a day of not smoking, 15 minutes a day of doing an exercise video, or 15 minutes a day of doing a meditation is actually 45 minutes every day that I am doing something positive for myself, something to work towards being the kind of person I want to be. And I know that through my past experience of becoming sober, that 45 minutes every day adds up. It adds up every week, it adds up every month, it adds up every year, until all of a sudden you wake up one morning and you are practicing the kind of person that you want to be. You have become the kind of person that you want to be. Instead of saying, someday I want to get healthy and I want to exercise, you are a person that exercises every day. And eventually you'll be a person that has exercised every day for almost 3 years. And you'll see positive results because of that. Instead of saying, someday I want to be a person who doesn't smoke, you'll be a person who didn't smoke for 15 minutes every single day. And then hopefully the idea would be that positive action of not smoking for 15 minutes every day can turn into not smoking for 30 minutes every day, or not smoking for an hour every day. And then eventually it'll become not smoking. And it'll be 875 days where you can look back and say, I am no longer somebody who wants to quit smoking. I am now a non-smoker. And so I just want to share this aha moment with you, and hope that maybe that this practice that I am trying out, that I've been doing for the last week, that you might be able to incorporate this into something in your life, maybe some goals or aspirations that you have, and that maybe you can use my example of what I'm trying in my life and maybe try that for yourself. And don't think it's not enough, that what's 15 minutes a day, what's that really going to do? Because it is enough. And you know why it's enough? it's enough, because it's the difference between actually doing something every day or just holding some goal in your mind that you wish would happen, that you want to be, but not doing anything any day to make that happen. So don't dismiss 15 minutes a day. 15 minutes a day can add up over time. Just like I learned with my drinking, not drinking every day, regardless of what it took me to not drink every day, has now added up to 875 days in a row that I have not taken that first drink. So life does change. The beauty of living in this 3D reality is that we do have linear time. So maybe we should think about it in a different perspective. Like instead of thinking, that time is against me, let's look at it like time can be for me. I can use the reality of linear time to my advantage, to do something tiny every day, knowing that it's going to progress one day at a time, and that I can use that time to my benefit to actually make things happen for myself in my life. So remember, fellow journeyers, we are in this world, but we are not of this world. We just navigate it every day. We try to make it work for us, and we try to become better people. I hope maybe breaking down some big goals into bite-sized pieces that are manageable can help you to become the kind of people that you want to be. Peace and namaste.